Hi, and welcome to the second episode of From Mammal to Channel. And today I'm going to tell you about my own personal From Mammal to Channel story. And I originally planned to ask my friend Katie, and I asked her and she said yes, to interview me about my story. But now I was spontaneously in the mood to record this, so here we go. So I want to start with telling you how my mammal state looked like. And so growing up, school was really always very easy for me, and people kept telling me that I'm intelligent, and that was a big part of my identification, this intelligent thing. So after I finished school, it wasn't really a question whether I would go to university or not. I was just very clear that I would go studying. And so I started studying chemistry. And I never liked it. So in the first year, I kept telling myself, well, that's just the beginning, it will get better. And after the first year, I told myself, okay, now you already invested so much time and energy, you cannot quit. So I continued to study this, despite my lack of passion for it. And I did my bachelor's degree and my master's degree, and then I started my PhD training. And yeah, since that was a big part of my life, so studying chemistry is really a full-time job, and I did not like that. You can imagine that it wasn't a really happy life. And I actually developed having migraines. And I think the first migraine I had with 20, so in the beginning of my university life. But during maybe at the end of my master's studies, or already in the PhD studies, I developed chronic migraines, and that means that I had like between 12 and 14 migraine attacks in the month, and between these attacks I never felt really good. I always had this brain fog, and my eyes always felt strange, and I felt so exhausted all the time. And God, looking back, I really don't understand how I could live that life, how I could continue with that. Oh, really strange. I was just so used to suffering, I guess, that I didn't realize how bad it was. Oh my goodness. Anyway, I tried a lot of things to cure the migraines, to get rid of it, and at some point I just realized that all these attempts, they were just aiming at getting rid of the symptom and not of the cause, not helping the cause. And so inspired by someone close in my life, I started a psychotherapy, and that was really one of the best decisions of my life. That helped me a lot to understand myself more, to develop new perspectives, and just to change things, really, to start evolving personally. And it was also that time when I started to realize that I simply don't like myself or how I feel when I judge people. And that was a really normal thing for me. I grew up with that. That it's completely normal to judge everyone, including myself, of course. And then at university, the people there, that was really the only topic of conversation, to talk about others. And I realized then I simply really don't like that. And I realized that's not me. There has to be something else. And that led me to the discovery, to the belief that we are really all the same. We are all the same. So now of course, that's something so basic and something completely normal to think that and to know that we are all one and everything. But back then, I did not have any spiritual background and also not a religious background, and that was really a new idea for me, that we are all the same. So there's never a reason to be angry at anyone or to judge anyone, because as I saw it, I could be, probably I said like I should be. I thought to myself, I can be really, really, really grateful for the circumstances I had growing up, that I find myself now here, not bitter, not mean, or whatever quality I would judge other people to be. And that was a big revelation for me to understand that it's due to our circumstances, how we grow up, the belief systems that we integrate and all that stuff, that really makes the difference. But in the core, we are all the same. And that took away a lot of negativity, actually, and replaced it with a lot of positivity and compassion for other people. And the second big thing was a great word that I really love. In English it's 2 words, self-responsibility. Oh, that was also a great revelation to me. To stop blaming others for stuff in my life, especially looking back in my life. Self-responsibility, that we are responsible for everything in our life, every decision we made, everything. And I know that for some people this is hard to hear, and there's a lot of resistance to that. But for me at the time, I think I was just so ready and ripe for that concept. It was like a big relief, because I immediately understood that also is so powerful. If nobody is responsible for yourself and you are responsible completely, that also means that nobody has power over you and you have all the power. That's big. And also in that time I started listening to a podcast that I don't remember anymore what the title was, and it was also a German podcast. But I think that lady was using techniques from neuro-linguistic programming. That somehow I remember that, and that was just a way of altering the way you think from a negative way to a more positive way, and to develop more compassion for others and so on. And so all of that really had a great impact on my life, but still I was trapped in my hamster wheel at university with the job that just wasn't for me. And at some point I realized that I don't want to be a chemist, but I still believe that I had to finish and get my PhD degree. But I already started saying to other people, well, I'm going to finish this, but after that I'm going to do something else. I want to do something with people, something more social, and I really had no idea what to do. And I studied chemistry for so long, for 12 years or something like that, and I haven't learned anything else. So that was, a little bit destabilizing, that thought of having to start over completely. And then, well, I did not allow myself to just quit and start over right away. No, I had to continue with that and living in misery with my migraine. So all of these new revelations, they were beautiful and wonderful to me, but I still kept having the migraines pretty often. I can't remember if they were a little less or not, but it was still very hard. And so actually having these, awakening this other side within me, actually produced like a conflict within me that maybe made the other side, the negative side, feel even more, even heavier, if you understand what I mean. So I felt like I realized that it's so insane, and it felt completely insane to me, thinking that we just live our lives, we have a work, that work is like the biggest part of our life, the greater part of our awakening hours we spend with work and our colleagues. And if we don't like that, then we don't like the greater part of our lives, and then we just work and work and work until we're old and retire, and then we're supposed to start having a good time. That was so strange to me, but still I was so trapped in that I could not see that I could remove myself from that. I felt like I'm in there and that's my life and that doesn't make sense. And then also my aunt died when I was a teenager, and my aunt a little later. And that was the first time in my life that I was confronted with death, and it was terrifying for me. Since I didn't have any spiritual beliefs about the afterlife or anything, I did not believe in God. That was just felt like panic, like thinking about, and also it didn't make no sense at all to me that we would have this short amount of time for our life compared to how old the earth is, or the whole universe. And then we come here and we have this. I did not think we come here because that would mean we would come from somewhere before we are human beings. I did not have that belief. I was just thinking, oh my goodness, that's insane, and it feels stressful. We have this life. What is life? What is the sense of life? Everything was so. And sometimes I woke up in the middle of the night, with my heart really beating fast and really like heavily, and I felt like a heavy weight here on my chest, and everything just felt so senseless. It was not good. And so, let me think, where are we? After a few years, I finished my work at the university, the practical part of my work for completing my PhD studies. And I was already at home just writing the thesis, and that was pure torture. Oh my God. And so there were all these things. Life didn't make sense to me. I knew I was working on something that felt really hard for me, that I already knew I didn't want to pursue after I finished that, and I didn't know what to do with my life after that. And I also have felt such an urge to find my forever home, because I did not have that, and still I don't have a place in this world that feels like home to me. And back then I felt such an urge to want to find the place where I want to live. And I was studying in Vienna, and I just knew I don't want to live in Vienna anymore. So that's not my forever home. I knew that, but again, I did not know what else, if not that. And So I had a lot of ideas of what I didn't want, no idea of what I wanted. And I also, but one exception, I did want to have a baby. My husband and I tried to get pregnant like for more than 2 years. And I think only a person who has gone through that can understand how depressing it is when you try to get pregnant and you don't get pregnant. That added a lot of heaviness and a lot of pressure to our lives. So overall, there wasn't much happiness there. There were, of course, I had my wonderful husband in my life and my 2 amazing dogs, and I had like little pockets of happiness, but compared to now, I can tell it's not really. It's like my life now is a colorful movie, and looking back, I only see gray. And yes, so so the next thing was that I completely surprising got pregnant one fine day. And that was like the greatest miracle for us. Oh my God, we were over the top happy. We were, I don't know, I can't even put it in words. It was like a real miracle to us. And for me, it was like, oh, finally something is making sense. And I saw it as a sign that finally my wishes would come true, and finally everything would, fall into order and become good, and I would find my way. And that was just the first step on my new path. And so I attached a lot of things to that pregnancy. And also, of course, for me, it was also a break from my life, thinking, okay, now I have a purpose, being a mother, so I can have a break from this work disaster. And that was a good thing, yes. And well, then, actually on the first day of the 4th month of pregnancy, I miscarried our baby. And we knew that before, that he was going to die, but I gave birth to him then. And as you can imagine, that was really devastating to me. And also the circumstances of that birth were really dramatic. But that's another story. And all that together, it was like, it felt really that like my life was broken into a million pieces. It was really complete despair and complete losing hope, and it was really hopelessness. I was thinking with that pregnancy, as I explained to you, everything, all the good stuff would finally find its way into my life. And then it was gone all of a sudden. From one second to the other, it was gone. It was taken away. It felt like somebody took it away from me, and I could not understand that. It was like, this cannot be. No, this cannot be. Like, I cannot go back to that dark place. No. I could really not believe it. At first, it was really not that long until I felt something within me, like something was ignited within me. And I felt that, and I heard that voice that was saying, nothing happens without a reason. And it made a lot of sense to me back then. And it gave me a lot of hope and brought me back into the light, so to say. And I think I could already feel, sense, perceive somehow a little glimpse of what I would end up doing. I knew pretty early that I want to do something in that area of loss of pregnancy or infant loss, because I experienced it on myself, how it's still such a taboo topic in our society, and also the staff at the hospital, they are not trained in this, and they treat you. There are exceptions, of course, but you feel pretty much on your own with that. People feel uncomfortable talking about it. They just want you to be good again, well again, and happy again, and so I knew I wanted to do something there and help others who go through that experience. But in my mind, it was like a podcast or something. So not at all spiritual, just a podcast where people talk about miscarriages or stillbirths and these kind of things. But I had that feeling within me back then already, that I would make something that would make a lot of sense out of this. And so I honestly don't remember how I ended up doing a channeling course. I googled something and knew that because I had a feeling out of nowhere that my baby was still with me, that it wasn't over. And so I googled something. I can't even remember, but I ended up doing a channeling course, and that was really the best thing ever. And that, from the first second that I found that, there was so much excitement and joy with that, and it was just the most exciting and joyous journey ever since. And I found this beautiful, amazing teacher, Betsy Morgan, who taught channeling really completely coming from the heart. It was only feeling into that. It was like completely let go of your mind, and that was really good for me, because I was coming from that scientific corner and I was really deeply into my left brain side and not at all into my right brain side, that is, the creative and intuitive one. Now I was all like logic. Logic is the highest thing, and everything has to be proven, and I can't believe anything that I don't have evidence for, and so on and so on. So it was really good and something really different to start believing things by just feeling them. And then later on in my journey, I came across Suzanne Giesman, who is a fantastic teacher for mediumship, evidential mediumship, and she's all about evidence and also satisfying the right half of the brain. But it was just perfect for me to learn it in a way where I would completely let go of my logical mind. And yes. So in the beginning, I did not do the channeling course because I thought I would do something with that as a profession. No, not at all. It was just personal interest, like a hobby, and I enjoyed it very much. And oh my goodness, I just love the community that Betsy Morgan created, and to meet all these beautiful, loving people, open-minded, open-hearted people. There was such a big contrast to my normal life with people who were like more negative than positive. It was just an amazing experience, and now I am just used to getting together with people where it is the most normal thing, that there's a positive conversation, and it just feels heart-opening and inspiring to meet with others and warm and yes, of course, there might be sometimes a topic, some issue that comes up, some ego ideas. But whenever somebody tells something like that, it is so clear that that person doesn't tell that to complain about it. And so the response from the other person is never, oh yes, that's bad, that's really bad, oh tell me more how bad that is. It's always constructive. It's always like, oh yeah, I see, that really sounds like a good ego story. Let's have a look at that. Let's find truth in that. Let's find a higher perspective. And I mean, that's life-changing. Having people like that in your life is life-changing. So I can only recommend you all to gather people like that around you and connect with people like that. And when you find them, hold them. and I have forgot to tell you about something back in my mammal days. When I came across all of these good things, one big amazing thing was the work from Byron Katie that I also really want to recommend to everybody. That is really also life-changing. And it helped me a lot, and it still does from time to time. I do it for myself, and it's just the best. It's about questioning your own thoughts, realizing that whenever you have a problem, you really only have a problem with a thought, and you can resolve that very easily. And it's a really easy method, easy and quick, and I just love it so much. Just wanted to add that. And let me think. I'm gonna pause the video to think if there's something else that I wanted to tell you. No. I thought about it, and no, I think that's all I wanted to tell you about my journey. And looking back and seeing the change that I went through is almost unbelievable. And when I can do that, everybody can. And when I compare it back then, I was so trapped into this idea of what my life should look like. That is already too much said, because I never even questioned that. It was like I was just like an autopilot. I was just functioning and going and having some beliefs of what I have to do and what I should do, and was just so, as I said before, used to suffering. I think that is really an important point, that I didn't even realize how limiting my life was, and how sad I was, and how unhappy. And when I compare it to now, oh my goodness, it's a complete different life and really a new world. When spiritual people talk about the new earth, that's it, I guess. Making this transition from not being in contact with your heart to being in contact, completely being in contact, and then not only being in contact and being aware of what's in there, what the desires in there are, but also living them and following your heart's guidance. And I think for me that's the new earth, and we can all do that. It's really only a decision. And when I compare it to now, and also my work life back then and now, I really cannot believe that something that is so amazing, that feels so amazing and so joyous, like it feels like the best hobby in the world is my profession, and people pay me for that. I still can't believe that, actually. And yeah, I think that's the best thing. That's really the new way of living, is to not have these compartments of your life, that this is my work and this is me with my friends, and this is me with my family, and this is me doing this or that, and all these kind of different versions, but to have this one version that doesn't have tolerance for suffering anymore, so that you always follow your heart and you allow happiness in every aspect of your life. Yeah, I think that is really key, to allow yourself to be happy and get rid of beliefs that say that it's not possible to be happy all the time, and it's not possible to feel fulfillment from all parts of your life, because it's simply not true. And yeah, we will talk about that in another episode. Feeling truth and recognizing your own truth and living that. So that's about all. That was my story from mammal to channel, and I hope it was not too unstructured and confusing. I enjoyed it very much. It's really nice looking back and seeing where I am now. Yes. Well done. And I hope, I wanted to say we see us in the next episode, but since I'm not sure that anyone is watching this, I'm just going to say that to myself. I see you in the next episode, Nina. Mwah! Love you!